Have you ever had the feeling that something in your life is off, but you can't quite name what it is? A lot of people live inside that feeling for a long time, and most of them assume something is wrong with them. In this video, I'm going to show you why a functional life can still feel wrong, how to map that feeling using the integrity wheel, and the one question you need to ask to figure out if you've actually outgrown it. Hi, I'm Jessica. What makes this hard to catch is that nothing may be obviously wrong. You are still living your life, going to work, paying the bills, handling what needs to be handled. From the outside, things may look fine, maybe even successful. But inside, the feeling is flatness. The thing that you worked so hard for don't necessarily feel bad. They just don't land the way they used to, or the way you expected. You may notice it takes more effort than it should to carry your normal life. You may feel a quiet resentment towards things you once genuinely wanted. And then the guilt comes in. You tell yourself, I chose this. I should be grateful. Other people would be so happy to have this life. So why does it feel like I'm dragging myself through it? That confusion matters because when you name the problem wrong, you almost always reach for the incorrect answer. And that is why the usual fixes don't work. Gratitude is real. Rest is real. But neither one addresses what happens when the structure of your life has quietly stopped fitting the person living inside it. If this is sounding a little too familiar, please take a second to hit the like button. It helps this reach people who are quietly living inside this exact experience, and it helps me know that this is landing. So here's what's actually happened. A lot of people assume that if a life is still functioning, it must still fit. But those are not the same thing. A life can keep working on the outside long after it stops feeling right on the inside. That is part of what the integrity wheel helps explain. In this framework, integrity means wholeness. It means the life on the outside still matches what feels true for us on the inside. So when someone says, my life looks fine on paper, but something feels off, that's not a weakness as much as a misalignment. Most of the time, this shows up at the threshold between the summer season and autumn. Summer is the season of building. We build our career, a routine, relationships, our identity. You build a life with shape and structure. You learn how to carry responsibility. You learn how to sustain things and show up. And for a while, that may be exactly right. But eventually, something shifts, and this is natural. Autumn begins when you can no longer avoid the question, does this still fit who I am now? And here is where people get stuck. They keep trying to solve an autumn problem with summer logic. They assume the answer is to tighten things up, to get more discipline, to fix their attitude, take a break, find a way to get back on track. Sometimes rest really does help. Sometimes you really are tired. Sometimes life is just demanding, and that is all there is to it. But sometimes the deeper issue is this. You are exhausted because you are carrying a life that no longer matches who you are inside. For example, you might have spent a decade building a business that required you to be constantly available and highly reactive. That was the summer structure. But now you might be entering a season where you need deep focus and quiet to do your best work. The business still functions perfectly, but the structure of it is slowly crushing the person you have become. That creates a very particular kind of fatigue, not just stress. It is the fatigue of staying loyal to a structure your inner life has outgrown. And here is the part most people miss completely. Sometimes people are depressed or clinically burned out, and they do need treatment or rest. That's real. but it is not the only possibility. And if you keep calling an alignment problem a clinical problem, you will spend all of your energy trying to recover your way back into a life that still doesn't fit. So here's the shift. The first sign that you may have outgrown your life is usually not collapse. It is the growing gap between what your life asks of you and what feels honest inside of you. You can hear it in thoughts like these. I can still do all of this. I just don't want to anymore. I worked hard for this, so why do I feel so trapped by it? Nothing is terrible, so why do I feel so absent in my own life? These questions are not laziness, nor are they failure. And it is not an automatic sign of a breakdown. A lot of the time, it is the first honest signal that the life you are living and the self inside of it are no longer lining up. And that distinction matters because if you call it depression too quickly, you may pathologize something that is trying to tell you the truth. And if you call it burnout too quickly, you may spend all your energy trying to recover your way back into a life that still does not fit. Sometimes the better question is not what is wrong with me, but here's the better question. Does the life I'm living still belong to the person I am now? If this framework is helping you make sense of where you are, please consider subscribing. We release new videos 2 to 3 times a week, and this is the work we explore together. Here's the takeaway. Outgrowing your life does not always look dramatic. It can look like success that feels strangely flat once you are inside it. It can look like resenting something you once wanted badly. It can look like spending every weekend trying to recover from your regular life. And it can look like guilt because you know there are good things in front of you and something is still not landing the way it used to. That is why this can take so long to name. There may be no crisis, no betrayal, no clean ending. Sometimes it is quieter than that. It is the slow realization that the life you are living and the person living it are no longer fully matched. Naming that is not about creating panic. It is about helping you stop arguing with your own experience. You do not have to figure everything out today. You do not have to change everything at once. But you need to stop dismissing what you already know, just because it has not become dramatic yet. Because clarity starts there, not with a 5-step plan, with an honest read. I want to hear from you in the comments. What is one part of your life that still works on paper, but no longer feels fully true for you? Let me know in the comments. These conversations matter to me, and they shape what I make next. In the next episode, I'm going to answer the question this video almost always raises. Does this mean you have to change everything? That video is called You Don't Need to Blow Up Your Life, and it's the best place to go next. It'll be on your screen. This work matters. You matter. See you in the next one.